This
session.
conference will now be recorded.
Very good. So let's connect here to the same text file which we connected yesterday. So where is my data source? Okay, so this is not your data source. Hang on. Let me just change thing here. Yes, madam, please go ahead.
Sir, this data source folder is part of Tableau repository.
Yes, yes, it is.
These files will be .hyper. These files will be created.
Exactly. So that files will be created as part of the extract connection. So when we apply extract connection, then the data will be stored in that extract file. And the extract file extension is .hyper in the latest versions of Tableau. And in the old versions, it will be .tde. So if you have Tableau 8.0, then you will see that the extension will come as .tde. So these are the extensions coming from Tableau. So answer is yes. So why it's still not taking this? So any other Tableau open here? Okay, so if it is resisting here, then we will take this file and let's go to Tableau repository, and then let's place that file. Okay, there are many things here, but still not a problem. Just paste that file here. If you already have that, don't worry about this. I'm just creating a folder and then doing that. 8:30 a.m. Place this file. So let's connect this file from Tableau desktop. Let's open it again very quickly. And before it opens, so just a flow. How does this work when you use extract connection? Because the flow is also very important for you. So when we use extract connection from Tableau, so I'm just putting the same thing here, which we saw yesterday. This is my database or data source. And when you are using extract connection, then what happens? So it takes a snapshot of the data, and then this snapshot is sent to Tableau data engine, and this engine converts the snapshot into the extract files. So that extract files will be of this extension. So the latest version is .hyper, which is so above Tableau 10.0, so about 10 versions. So you will see only hyper, but below 10 versions, so the extensions will be .tde. So below Tableau 10.0 versions. Okay, this was the flow which we saw yesterday, and so this is the complete cycle. So what happens here? This was where we stopped yesterday, isn't it? Okay, so let's see the same thing now. Let's connect it to the Tableau desktop for that text file. And where is that folder? So that folder is now here. And I'm changing here so click on extract. So remember, when you are doing extract, so you will get this option here, edit. So what is the purpose of this button here is, do you want to retrieve full data from the database, or do you want to retrieve only some data from the database? So which you can control it from this option, but we will see this option little later, but only understand the flow for now. So when we say extract, now keep this, read this line here, will include all data, because we did not restrict anything here. Okay, now if I click on sheet 1, now you can see immediately, so it is asking, where do you want me to save the file? That means the data from the notepad is now converted into this file format. Into which format here? .hyper. Okay, I want to save this file in this same location, which is of sample.hyper file. Let's say save. So when I clicked on save, so this complete cycle is executed. See how fast it is. So it loaded the database, it loaded the data, sent it to engine, it saved to this file, and it is connecting to this file. It all happened in a fraction of seconds. All right, maybe you can say, sir, that is a notepad, only 3 records, so it will be very fast. Okay, we can try this for even the database as well. And observe here, there are a few things which we will discuss now. The first point which I want to talk here is, if there is a change in the data, let's say if there is a change in this file. Okay, so how many records we have? So maybe 5 records we have. And how many records we have here? Click on this icon and we see that there are 5 records. Very nice. Now there is a change in the data, because data keeps changing, maybe frequently or maybe once in a while it is changing. Now I got a new product here. All right, so I'm saving the data here. Okay, now how do I see the updated data here? So what is there? Let's click on the table and we don't see the updated one. What did we do for live connection to see the updated data? We right clicked on the data source and we clicked on refresh button. Okay, let's do the same thing here. Wait for a second and let's click on that. I'm still seeing only 5 records, but here I have 6th record as well. Okay, so why it did not show the updated value, which it worked for live, isn't it? Very important point for interview as well as for Tableau developer. So how to get updated data if we are using extract connection is, right click on the data source. So this is a data source which we are talking about. Right click on this and use here, so go to this place, extract, and here you are seeing the option refresh. So if we use this option, we are not getting the data. If we use this option, refresh, okay, you are getting some message on the screen. Can you please read it very quickly? Maybe the first line is enough. The entire contents will be replaced. So why it is giving me the warning message? I'm just asking, give me the data. So why it is giving me the warning message? Why? Because here, go to the snapshot here again. So why the error message means, if you want to get the updated data, then the same cycle has to be executed once again. That means if there is a change in data, so again you have to connect to data source, which is already there. So now Tableau has to again take the snapshot, again it has to send it to engine, and engine has to convert the data into this file, and now it has to save the data. But here we already have the file, isn't it? So we already have sample.hyper file. So now will it create another file? No, it doesn't create another file. So what it is going to do, it will delete the contents of this hyper file because you already have data. So some new data is coming. So the data existed in this file will be deleted. And then when you do the extract refresh, the fresh data is coming now and it will be saved in this file. So that is a warning here. So I will delete complete data from the extract file because you are about to get a fresh data and the existing data will be deleted. So do you want to still do that? Yes, please do that because I need updated data. So I clicked on yes. So that means that now when I click on yes here, so delete cycle is executed. Now will I get the updated record? Yes, I'm getting the updated record. But think of this scenario here. All right, so think of this scenario. I have 1 lakh records. Okay, I have like 1 lakh records. And there is the new record which is added to the database, and it's only one record. This is only one new record. Now, if I say extract, refresh, because I want to get the newly added record also. Now for one record, it has to delete 1 lakh records from the file. So this 1 lakh records will already be there in this file. For one record, it has to delete entire thing, and then it has to add 1 lakh, 1 records into this file system. Does it make any sense for one record deleting 1 lakh records and again getting all 1 lakh records? Definitely doesn't make sense. Do we have any other option here? Yes, we have another option here. Now observe. Extract refresh. Extract refresh can be done in 2 ways here. So what are the 2 ways? One is full refresh and the other one is incremental refresh. So the database persons will know these incremental options very clearly. So what is full means? Clear everything. How many records you have? I really don't care. Delete all the records and I will place complete set once again. Second one, now I will give you just the change. How many records I have? The newly added ones. So I will just give you only those. You can add that to your existing file. Which one is easy here? Second one is very easy because the performance doesn't get affected, isn't it? So extract can be done in 2 ways, full extract or the incremental extract. So we are only talking about the full extract now, right? But when we talk about the database concepts, and we will definitely discuss the full refresh and incremental refresh. So how do we do this? So I'll take these concepts at the Tableau server level because we do this from the Tableau server, right? But for now, what is important for us is if you want to get the updated data, then you have to right click on this data source and click on extract. You have to click on refresh. But if it is a live connection, then you just have to click on refresh. That is fine, sir. Now, what is this refresh doing? So if I do this, nothing happens. Then what is this doing here? So this is just a connection. So do you have connection to the file or not? That is going to verify that. But it is not going to get you the details. But if you want to get updated data, then you have to go to extract and you have to do this refresh here. Okay, right? First point. And then now here, do you have updated data? 6 records, yes. And here I'm just using one button here. We did not discuss anything about this screen. We will just discuss one by one. Okay, so click on this. Yes, I'm seeing the updated data. Now there is some small modification here. I said here instead of 100, I just made 200. Save. There is no newly added record. Please remember this. There is no newly added record. There is a small update to the existing data. Very nice. Now, did you save that file? Yes. And how to get the updated data? Now, can I just say refresh? Now, observe here. Is that reflecting? No. This should be 200. Which one? The profits. Now, profits are here. Okay. But now, if I do, how to get the updated one? Right click, extract, refresh. Click on that. Again, it is asking, hey, do you want to delete complete data? Yes, I want to do that. Otherwise, how do I get? I said yes, do it. Again, this cycle will execute it. Okay. And now let's look at the data. Are you getting the updated one? Yes. So that means if you are using the extract connection for any modifications, any newly added records, if you want to be up to date, then we have to perform this action here. Okay, that's one thing which we have to remember. Now I have some questions here. So what is that here is, can you list out the differences between live and extract? This is a mandatory interview question. All right, so extensions, we will put that later. So this is the interview questions which we are discussing. So the question here is, what are the differences between live and extract connections? So what are the differences? So please list them out. Okay, so can we list them out here? Live and extract. So can you help me with few differences here? Whatever you understood, you can put it in the chat window. So the very first point, yes, it is right. So the first point is, we have connection to the data source 24/7. So that means there is a continuous connectivity with the data source. So with this reason, we can work in online mode. But if we lose the connectivity, can you work in online mode? If you have a live connection, can you work if you lose the data, if you lose the connectivity? No, we cannot work. So that means here we can work only in online mode, and if we lose connectivity, we cannot work. What about the extract connection? So we can connect to the data source using offline mode also. Why offline mode? Because you are trying to get the data from the database into the file system. Now, where is the file located? That file is in my local system. So I can work with the database or the data even though I lose the connectivity. Very, very, very important point. And now the link between the points here, because I have the file in my local machine, are you saving the data in your local machine? Yes, of course. So the data is available in local machine. Yes, because you are using the file system, the data is now stored in your local machine. But what about live? Data is not stored in the local machines. We are directly connecting to the database and we are pulling the data from the database and we are working. And once we close Tableau, there is no data saved on your local machine. But that is not the case in Extract. Even though you close the data, the connection to the data, the file is still in your local machine. All right, so that's the very big difference. And any other differences which I can talk about? Yeah, that's right, what you said. Now, the other difference here. Can I have any inputs in the chat window? How are you refreshing the data and how are you getting the latest data? So we have to use what is the steps here? Extract, refresh to get the data. And when we use here in the live, so we have to use just refresh the data option. So how do you do that? Right click on the data source. So I'm not putting that here, understanding that it is fine. And yeah, so the very important point which you just put that here. Which one has the performance, good performance here? The live or the extract? So which one has a good performance? Majority of them say it is the live connection. No, the performance is not very good in live connection. Oh, is that so? So why is that? Because observe here. So I'll put the point here. Performance is little slow compared to extract. So it is not too much slow. If it takes 10 seconds in extract, it takes like 8 seconds in live. Sorry, it takes 12 seconds in live. A very minute difference. And I'll just put that point here. But why is that? Performance is better than live. The reason is that where your data is located in a different location, different place. So that means if you want to get the data, if we want to talk to your data source, I'm dependent on the internet speed. I'm dependent on the performance of the database. It is dependent on the network speed. It is dependent on the hardware infrastructure, isn't it? Hardware systems. I just put that point. So your internet speed should be good, the data transfers should be good, and the database performance should be good because you are retrieving the data from the database, and the transfer rates should be good, and the devices which you are using, the network devices, should be good because the data is transferring between two different systems from two different locations. So it is dependent on all of these. But here during the extract, why it is better than live? Because the data is now stored in our local machine. Because it is stored in our local machine resources are only used, isn't it? So I really don't need internet also. I don't need anything about the DB because the file is in my local machine. Very nice. So this is another point which we can say in the interview. All right. So any other points? I'm looking at the chat window. So do you see any other points? Think about it. Where we can list out the differences between the live and the extract.
So, Srinivas here. So there will
Yes.
be a difference in the extensions as well, right? So in extract mode, we'll have an option of .tda or .hyper, wherein
Right.
in live we don't have that option, right?
Correct. Correct. So here the data is stored. So maybe I will put that here itself. So in which format here? It is either TDE or .hyper. But here, so there's no file systems used. And yes, whatever you said is absolutely right. And now, yes, even the point which is put on the chat window, that is also right. Another point here is when we should use live and when we should use extract. So when we should use live data is when data is changing dynamically. That means every minute, every second, the data is changing. Then only use the live connection. That means if you are working on the OLTP systems, if you are connecting to OLTP systems, so don't take the extracts because you are displaying the data little slow to your customers, so which is not recommended. But when data is not changing so fast or not at all changing, then you can happily use the extract connections. So when data is changing dynamically, use live connection. So we need to know like when we should use which type of connection, right? So when data is not changing or just we'll put here frequently, then prefer extract connections. Okay, so these are some differences which we can tell to the interviewer, and this is one very commonly asked question. Maybe this is the first or second question which you will get. All right, so some information about the live versus the extract connections in Tableau. But we'll still come back to this because we are only extracting all data, which we really don't do that. So we will see how to extract the partial data, only my required data. Yes, we will see that very soon. Right, so now let's move to the next different small topic here. So what is that topic is, when I'm dragging the table here and I'm getting the data, this is nice. But if you observe few things here, it is trying to display something here, ABC, some hash symbol, another hash symbol, isn't it? This is very small notepad. So let's connect it to the default files which are given by Tableau. So where are that files located? So let's go back and let's connect it to Excel file now. So I'm connecting to Excel file, and the default files will be stored in the data sources folder. Go to the folder, and I want to open one spreadsheet here. All right, let's select it and open. They open because I want to see more data. So let's put that here, and now observe I'm getting different symbols here. One is hash, one is ABC, one is a calendar, and what else I can show you for now. Okay, that's good. Something is a globe symbol. So what are these now? So the next topic here is what are the data types in Tableau? All right, so another frequently asked question, and let's put that here. It is a number, so I really don't focus on the numbers, just put the question. So the next thing is what are the different data types in Tableau? So every application will have to deal with the data, but we need to know what is that type of data. So generally the type of data can be numbers, isn't it? So it can be the fractions, so let's put it this way, the decimals, and it can be the text, and it can be the dates, and even you can have date and times as well. And what else? You can have the different data types here, and even we can have the booleans. So I'm just listing out the different data types which we can have. So numbers means integers, just the numbers like this without any decimals. But if you also have the decimals, so generally what do we call in other languages? This was like integer, this was like floating values. Let's say if I have 3.140 or some decimal points here, isn't it? So we call them as the floating points. Text, yeah, it can be one character. It can be a group of characters like this. And date, yes, we will have the date fields, our birth dates, our admission dates, our discharge dates, delete dates, order dates, so many date fields here. So which contains here 3 parts, which is a year, month, and day. There are many things here, but I'll just consider 3. Date and time, yeah, definitely time is also very important along with the date. So what time you invested in the share market. So at that particular time, what is the amount? So correctly, that amount will be deducted. And Boolean values, it is a true or false. So these are the general ones. But what are the data types available in Tableau? Very nice. How do I see that? Where do I see that? So these are the data types. So click on this here. You will see the data types coming up here. These are the only data types available in Tableau. So number, it is divided into 2 parts here. One is a whole number, another one is a decimals. So that means that when you connect it to the data, automatically Tableau can understand what is that type of data you have in that column. So in this column, I'm only having the integers, just the numbers. So it categorized as number and whole numbers. There is no decimal points. And observe the other ones, date and time, date, string. So string is nothing but one character or group of characters. So everything is categorized into string. But the other programming languages or any other technologies, we say that as a char, and we have another one as a string. But Tableau says everything, I'll treat it as just the strings. The string is a collection of one character or a group of characters. Boolean, true or false. All right, so these are the data types available in Tableau. Okay, so let's list it out now. So what are the different data types available in Tableau? So it is a number. So this contains both of them. So which is a whole and which is the decimal. Decimal. This is one data type. And after number, let's put the string, which is the group of characters. And after string, we have date and time, and we have Boolean values. All right, so did we miss anything? Now 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6, but we can combine it to 1. All right, let's see for the other one here. Order ID, this is a column which is having ABC. So that means now I just want to put this here. So what are the symbols we are trying to show? So what Tableau shows here is hash. Hash represent, it can be whole number, it can be a decimal number. Is that so? Let's move on to this column, which is a sales column. So you can see here the sales column. The sales column here, you have the decimal values, 8 point, point, point. And even if you have point, the symbol is hash, but it automatically chooses here the decimals. All right. So the symbol for this is the hash. All right. But if your data is in a textual format, so this is a text, then it shows in ABC. So string, so it shows in ABC. So which is ABC. And how does date displays here? So date displays here with a calendar icon. So this is a calendar icon here. So if you see this column, which is a date column, it shows with the calendar icon. But if I have a date and time, then how does it show? So then it shows here calendar plus the clock icon. So it shows the clock icon as well. Can you show that here? Because it doesn't contain, yes. So if I click on this, and can I change to another data type? Yeah, what happens? Let's click on that. Now I'm trying to convert the data which is in the date format to date and time format. There is no time, so it shows all zeros, but observe the icon. So it is a calendar plus a clock symbol. So this is the icon for date and time, right? Very nice. And what is the next one? Boolean. So Boolean will be displayed with this symbol, true or false. So it shows in this format. Okay, so I'll just try to convert this into Boolean. Okay, what happens? You will get the null values because I cannot convert date into Boolean. So Boolean is something like a validation. Like, do you have this or not, true or false? All right, so I'm only focusing on the symbol here. All right, so it displays in this format, which is true or false. This is what it shows. Apart from these, we'll try to see few more symbols when we see working with the different logics here. All right. So now if I change to true or false, the data is lost. Now if I change it back to date, will I still get the data? Yes, the data is still there and it is not reflecting back to the original file. We are just modifying that in Tableau. Okay. That means the data is safe. Even though we change something, the data is still safe. Fine. And if we scroll, what is this here? The globe symbol, which we did not list out here, isn't it? So we did not list out the globe format here. This is called as the geographical format. So what is a globe here? So the globe represents, so this is a geographical format, and which is represented using the globe icon. So what is the meaning of that? So what usage we have? How do we make use of this? We will talk about that. But if I click on this, observe here, it still shows a string because the content is a textual format only. But in addition to the text format, this field, country or region, can also act like a geographical format. So that means we can do something on the map. So what is the usage of this is when you find this geographical format, we can work on the maps as well. That is the meaning of that. So maps means definitely it should have latitudes and longitudes. We'll talk about that. That means, can I also call geographical format into data types? So where is that available here? So is that available in this list? It is not, but if you scroll down, you will see geographical role. So that means this is not exactly the data type, but you can assign the existing data types to additional one. That means it can work in addition to the string data type. I can also show you in terms of the geographical format. So what is that? It is showing a big list here, right? So we'll see what is this and how we can use them. But generally, when they ask you what are the data types, so say these: number, string, date, date and time, boolean. And apart from these, we can also have the geographical formats for the string data types. All right, so we would definitely not include it in the data type. This is just the additional to the existing one. Right, so we cannot really say that is a data type, but when telling the answer for this question, so please also include, so we also have a geographical format, or you can also say it as a role where we can work with a few keywords in Tableau. So what are those keywords? How do we use them? We will discuss them in geographical analysis class. Okay, now I know something about the data type. What is the next thing it is showing here? Orders. So everywhere it is displaying orders, orders, orders. Because what it is telling is this is the table name from where you are getting this column. It is very clear. I dragged this orders and I placed it here. And why it should still show again that this column is from orders, this column is from orders. Every column is coming from orders only. But why you want to specifically display orders here? Why? Because when we have, or when we work with more than one table, then let's say I have like only 10 columns, but I'm using 5 to 6 tables. 5 to 6 tables, I can combine different tables. Then user will get confused from which table is this column coming. Then this will help you out. So from where it is coming. So looking at that, okay, so this is coming from table 1, table 2. So that is where it is used. But for now, it just displays only one table name. But in future, when we work with multiple tables, then we will see the different table name here. Okay, and this sorting order is a very simple one, which shows the ascending order here. And the sorting order will be there for every column. You can sort ascending or descending, and you can just work with that. And so we saw this number of rows, how many it is displaying. So it just shows 1000, but if you want to increase that, so type a very big number, and you can definitely see that. And so this is the default sort order which you want to have. If you are working with only one table or one database, we really don't see any difference here, because whatever the sorting it had, so it shows the same thing in this list. This is just for display purpose, and we really don't use this screen a lot, because we will be working on the individual sheets, and this is only for our display purpose, which column shows first, which column shows second. So you can just change this order and you can see that list here. So Z to A means now the alphabetical order, it starts from the Z and it starts displaying and it shows A at the beginning. If you have A, it shows here beginning. Right? This is just the default sort order, A to Z or Z to A. So it's not of much importance here with these things. Okay, so what we know till now: type of connection, the data, the columns, the data types. Okay, and we did not discuss about these filters, and we have to talk about more the extract, and we'll see more when we go on. All right, so let's move on to the other one, and we'll see from where we will get started. Now I'm going to sheet 1, but I'll again come back to the screen when the topic comes up. Now let's click on sheet 1. So there are things to discuss here. This checkbox, where do we use, why do we use? We'll come to that. So even this new union, when the topic comes up, we will definitely discuss that. All right, let's click on sheet 1. Now observe these things here. What it shows, you have two tabs here. One is the data and another one is analytics tab. The default is the data tab, which shows the connections which you are working on. Now if you observe the symbols, the first one is the live connection, the second is an extract connection. So that means, can I have more than one data source at the same point of time? Yes, definitely you can connect it to more than one database at the same point of time. So you can definitely work with the different databases as well. So maybe SQL, maybe Excel files, different file systems. Yes, you can connect it. All right, now we just talk about few things here. The default tab is the data, which shows the data sources here. And if you come to this section, now you see a thin line which is getting separated here, isn't it? You have some things here, you have some things here. What are all these? Why it is separated? All right, we'll talk about that. And observe few things here as well. So we'll come to that point, why it is separating, on what basis. Observe the different parts of Tableau now. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4, we call it as shelves. It is very similar to what we have in our house. My books shelf, my clothes shelf. So we have a big storage in our homes, which we call it as the shelves, where we store the items. It can be the books, it can be the clothes, it can be money, whatever it is. So in Tableau, these 4 things we call it as shelves. Remember that this is again the interview question. How many shelves you have in Tableau? It is 4. Pages shelf, filters shelf, columns, and rows. These 4 are called as shelves. And just a quick note, we use these 3 for one purpose and we use this for another purpose. Why is pages shelf used? It is used for animation purpose. So just remember a point, but we will see one class it takes for discussing pages shelf. So this is used for animation purpose. Okay, and these remaining 3 shelves we use to display data here. Just a quick note, and we have 4 shelves, and this is our active area. So this is where we build our reports. So this is where we build our reports, and this is a title of the sheet, and we can drag and drop. So Tableau is all about drag and drop. So you can drag these fields, or these fields, you can drop it here, you can drop it here, you can drop it here, right? We will see them. So what happens if I do that? But what is the point here is, so this is my active working area, and this is my shelves. All right, what about this here? So this, we call it as the marks card. The name is a little different here. So it is called as the marks card, C-A-R-D. All right, so we call this particular one as the marks card, and this window, generally we call it as the legend of Tableau, because everything you can do from this small window, which is a very simple one, but we'll see that as we move on. And this marks card has different items here. So when you click on this drop down, so these are some of the default charts which we can prepare: the bar chart, line charts, area charts, and these are the symbol charts: square, circle, and shapes, which is commonly used, most frequently used, text, map, pie chart, Gantt bar. So you have so many options coming up here. So this is a drop down where we can show the type of chart to the end user. Fine. And we have got some buttons here. So you can change the colors, size, text. Interesting, this one. And details and the tooltips. All right, so keep an eye on this. So you have got a few items in this marks card, which we use most of the times in this 5 shelves only. So most of the time we will be working on 1, 2, 3, and this part, right? And whatever we do, the result will be displayed in this sheet. All right, so this is the only screen available in Tableau where we spend most of our time on this. So which is very easy for anyone to just understand the Tableau, what is it about. For the other BI tools, whatever it can be, Power BI or any other tools, you will have so many options, the drill down options, the selections, the impact will be shown in different ways. But in Tableau, this is the only screen which we work for most of the time. All right, and what is left out here? There are many menus available and many options available. We will understand them, each one of them, not continuously reading them, but when we do some examples, we will try to see why this button is used, why this option is used, where it is used. So we'll go step by step. All right. So till now, I'll just take a pause here and open up for questions. Do we have any open items till now? I'm looking at the chat window. Geography, yeah. So geographical roles, we just discussed that, but we will talk more in one complete session. It takes 2 sessions, in fact, for geographical analysis. Okay, so I'm looking at the chat window. So there are no questions.
I have one question. All right.
Sure.
This is regarding the extract one. Okay. So when we are updating the extract, extract file. Okay. So it is saying that the items in the sheet will be deleted, right? And it will get updated.
Right.
But when we see the data, so those are not getting deleted, but it is just getting updated, right?
Yes. Internally, what happens is the file is not getting deleted. The contents of the file will be deleted, and it will be overwritten.
Okay, it just overwrites, but message shows as it is getting deleted.
Correct. So internally, it deletes the content of the file.
Okay.
All right.
But the updated, but the updated sheet if can we open the content of the updated sheet
Yes,
for the
absolutely.
deleted ones? Okay.
No, the deleted ones, no. When the data is removed, so we don't have the data. That is fine. So
Hi,
that
Okay.
means
I have one question.
you have the latest of data in that file, only that will be retained.
Okay.
Hi, I have one question.
Sure.
Actually, when we work on extraction part, end user will be having end user can see the dashboard what we prepare in Tableau, right? So do we have to refresh? Being an admin, do we have to refresh the data every time whenever it added any data or deleted any data, or end user has that refresh option to do that?
That's a very good question. So when we do that, so who will update the final report? Let's say I have delivered a file to my customer and today it worked fine. So tomorrow I got some new entries into my database. So
Yes.
who should refresh the file to the customer? So who should do that is that will be done by Tableau server. So how does it do automatically is we have to create a schedules in Tableau server. And so for every day, let's say every day 10 a.m. I want to get the new data. So Tableau server will get the updated data. And because you have the updated data, now if the user opens the final report in his device, then server will send the updated information to his device. So who is refreshing here? It is done by Tableau server. And in Tableau server also, we don't need any person to do it manually because we should not depend on manual. So that should be done by automation. So that automation is done by these schedules here. So we will configure date and time. So how frequently you have to get the updated data, and then that report will be automatically visible to the end user.
Oh, great. And here one more thing. So that data source, when I do extractions, I should change the data source, right? I mean, data source means Excel file. Let's say I'm taking from Excel file. So that Excel file has to be updated by me, even, right?
Right. If you are dealing with Excel, yes.
Yes. And in live, live data, if it is dynamic, I should not do anything, right? I mean,
Yes.
being an admin. Okay, great.
See, Excel, we have to do it manually because it is a file system. You
Yes.
have to manually add and update records. But
Yes.
here in live, so we have to make use of the databases here.
Okay, fine.
It is file, so now you have to do that manually. So you will have some restrictions when you connect it to Excel. Can you do automatically? No, we don't. We cannot do that because server cannot automatically pull the file where you update it. So we will make use of the databases only.
Okay, great.
I have a question.
Sure.
Please.
Yeah, please you continue. Rajani, no issues.
Okay.
Amen.
Thank you. I have a question, Pradeep. I can see that in the Tableau data source part, if you can go to the Tableau data source, there I can see live and extract connections. Okay, now here, I mean, when I click on the extract option, I can see the edit button that I can filter out some of the data into the, in a table wise, right?
Correct.
But
Yes.
the same option is not available in the live. Can't we pull the data in the live with a limited part of data? Can't we do that?
Very good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So what you ask is, So if I use extract connection, I'm able to filter the data whatever I need. Let's say the region I want only central. So now I can get only the central related data in extract connection. But what about live? Can't I get only data related to east region? Valid question. So why you can't get that? But here, observe, if you use the live connection, you have access to everything, all records, everything. But now I want to filter that. Yes, definitely you can filter that. So that you have got multiple ways of doing that. So if you have connected to a database, you can write a small SQL query which retrieves only region. But here we connect to file system. So if it is a file system, then we can make use of this filter here. So there's another filter here, and here I can restrict that region, let's say only east. So even though I'm on live, I want to restrict the data because I don't want the millions of records. So now if I check this, if I check the table, so I should get only the east related information. So where is the region here? PQR, right? So that means yes, we can definitely restrict the data if you are using live or extract. But observe, this is the Excel file, isn't it? This is the Excel. But if I connect to database, then how do we do that? So let's connect to the database very quickly if it is running. So this is in my local machine. And let's select any data here. So I'm selecting one small similar database. And if I drag this table, even here we have this filter, but can't we write our own SQL queries? So just write a query to get only the region-wise data. So we can write here star from the table name and where region is equal to east. So you can just restrict whatever you want other than the filter. So we can do two ways. Right? Only then when we apply the filters, the performance of Tableau is high. So only when we apply that, the performance will be high. That means if we apply the filters as we require, then the performance is very high in Tableau.
Okay.
So meaning remove unwanted data.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Bill.
Sure. Right. So any other questions?
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Bhavna. How far we use this live and extract connections in real time? Which are the connections mostly used in real time? Like how do we use it? And when do we get refresh the data? How do we know that when we want to refresh the extract connections?
Right. That's again the another good question. So which one do we use, live or extract? I would say you don't use live, you don't use extract. Then what do we use? We use the extract only, but in a different way. So different companies uses the different approach, but most of the times we will be working on the extract connections. But here, compared to extract, it is not, you will be creating your own extract files. So you don't do this. Who will do this is the Tableau admin will do the extract and he will place this file in Tableau server. And then as a Tableau developer, I will be connecting to Tableau server and I will be connecting to this extract file. So your admin is restricting you to have what data you need to have and how frequent that should be refreshed. So Tableau admin will take care of that. So he will not give you that option because we have some other consequences. If I give you the extract permission and if I ask people to extract, they'll do their own extract. But I want unique in the company, so that will be done by the admin.
Okay,
So
okay, thank you.
of the time we use extract, but this extract will be placed in Tableau server. From Tableau server, we will connect it to Tableau desktop for that particular files. Right? So the real time is little different approach. This is a major companies which they follow. But if you work in a very small companies like level 3, level 4, you can connect most of the times using the live connections. So you can go for this live connection. Depends on project to project, but most of the times we follow this approach, extract options. And
What is the drawback between the, I mean, behind this, when we extract, when they give extract option and when they are not giving live, what is the drawback?
the drawback, what I say is, let's say we have 3 people who are working for me. This is my database, and the 3 Tableau developers are working, 1, 2, and 3. Now this person logs into the company at 10 a.m. and he will connect it to this and he will do the extract here. So at 10 a.m. he got the extract from the database. And second person, he is connecting to this database. He is logging little late, let's say by 1 p.m. and he's trying to get the extract from this database. So between these 2 people, there can be multiple records inserted into the database, isn't it? So possible. Records are getting updated in this database. And third person is working on the evening shift, maybe 6 p.m. So now he connects to this database and he is pulling the extract from this file. So this fellow is getting 100 records, this fellow is getting 150, and this fellow is getting 175 records. So some columns added, some columns updated, some columns deleted. 3 people are working on the same database, but with a different number of records, number of columns, which is not right, isn't it? So the output of these 3 people will be different. So we should not have this. We have to restrict in such a way that this refresh. So people, when they are trying to get a refresh, they have to get only from one file here. That means I will just remove the access of these 3 people connecting to the database. I will redirect them to connect it to one file, and this file will be talking to the database. And every day at night, maybe 10 p.m. or 12 p.m., I will get the update from the database. And only the next day, 10 p.m., I will again talk to the database and I will get the records. So that way, these 3 people will now connect to this file and everyone will get the same number of records, same data. So they will be working on the same thing. So that is one drawback which we see when you connect everyone to the same database. And here there is another problem, which is a security issue. Your customer doesn't give access to the database for every Tableau developer. So it's of the security issue. So instead, Tableau admin will only talk to this database server and store that data in the Tableau server, and from server connected to this file. So this file will be talking to the database constantly, and this will be updated. So everyone, anytime, so they should be up to date. So I can reduce the number of network connections over, number of database connections over the network traffic, and I'm giving more security to the customer as well. I don't provide everyone connect to the database. And these two servers are maintained in the cloud, so it's more secured. So that's the few drawbacks we have, and that's how we can mitigate it.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
All right, excellent. Oh, I cleared that image too fast. Sorry about that. So looking at the chat window, do we have Tableau available on cloud as well? Yes. So the one of the component which we have is Tableau Online. So this is a component which is available in Tableau Cloud. So Tableau maintains its own cloud. You just have to register with them and they will provide access to everything what you need. The number of licenses, the Tableau server licenses, the different roles in Tableau server, number of users in Tableau servers. So everything will be provided by Tableau. And this is the cheapest of all. So this is a very cheapest when you compare the license of Tableau Desktop. So I would say if this is 100 rupees, so this comes only for 10 or 20 rupees. So which is very cheap. Okay, so that's the question I think I answered. All right then, so we will stop it here for today. And tomorrow we will talk about these things here. So what are these things here? It shows tables in the new version, but in little old version, there's a different names for it. So the different names is something like dimension, and this will be treated as a measure. So we'll talk about these two things by connecting to one old version. And what is a dimension? What is a measure? So how Tableau identifies the column that it should place here, and what is the criteria which it places here? What is the difference between dimension and measure? Yeah, so we have to discuss a lot about these, which we will do in the next sessions. And then we will start building the reports in Tableau. Right?
Sir, I have a question, one last question.
Sure, sure.
I mean, how can we, I mean, the data, what we get it, how, can we get the questions and so that we can do the practical things and all that? I mean, can we get the books for that?
Okay, you will have the material for this, but what you are looking there for practice purpose?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, in the material, so you should be able to see a number of questions with answers and some questions for practice as well.
Okay.
That's there in the material. And even if you don't follow sometimes in the class, maybe due to some network connections, you can definitely refer to the notes, which will have the steps also, the step-by-step, which we drag, which we drop in building the reports. And whatever change we do here, everything is documented, but will be different examples.
Fine. Will that be helpful in the interview part? I mean, what we do in the practical according to that document, what you will share?
Definitely, that will be a hard copy. That is not a soft copy, and that document is prepared keeping the interview questions in mind. So every example, what you see in class or what you see in the material is all based on the interview point of view and the difficulties we face in real time. So we put those question and answers there.
Okay.
And that's
Fine.
a hard, and it is not a soft copy.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, sure.
Hey, hi. I have one question. I'm sorry. Actually, can we create new fields and calculated fields in Tableau?
Absolutely. Create a
Okay.
calculator.
Okay, fine.
Without this, we cannot do anything in Tableau. So this is
That's
a very much needed one.
well, great. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Okay, and one last thing before I wind up. So we'll be creating a WhatsApp group for this batch. So every batch we do two things, the drive and the WhatsApp group for the current batch, so that we can post any updated information about the class, about the Tableau, about the interview questions or anything. So we will place that in that group. So so whoever will be part of this batch, so you have to provide your contact numbers if you want to get added to that group. So anything related to Tableau and related to the batch, the information will be updated in that group. So you have to share your WhatsApp numbers, and so that's one small request from you. So if you give your number, then you will get the information there in WhatsApp as well. All right. So you can provide your numbers in this chat window, or you can provide your numbers to the admin. So you have to call admin and you have to just ask him to add your number to that group.
Sure, we'll do that. One last question, actually, do we have a server over here, and where you asked us to, practice, fetching the data from server? Do you maintain server, or how it would be?
Server is of two things. If it is a database, you can install it on your local machine. But when we talk about the Tableau server, yes, we do maintain the Tableau server, but the problem is the license of Tableau server is only for 14 days period. So that means you have to practice in that 14 days period only, because the Tableau server license, we don't get the keys, you have to purchase them. So whatever we do on Tableau server, so it is only available for 14 days trial period. But you will get access in that 14 days period. You can connect it from home. And I'll create a database server as well. So you will have Tableau server and the database server in two different machines, which you can connect from your local machine. But it will be limited to 14 days trial period only.
Will that be happen after, after few classes, or how it would be? I mean, 14 days.
Yes. Yeah, once we are done with the majority of Tableau desktop concepts, then we will get started with Tableau server.
But it is limited for 4 days. So whatever 14. We have to learn, we have 14. To learn. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so you can install on your local machine if your machine configuration is high. It requires 32 GB and some memory, and 8 cores is minimum for Tableau server. So if you have these configurations, you can definitely install it on your PC as well.
Okay.
So it requires some high configuration. 32 GB RAM is required, and octa-core 8 cores is required mandatorily. And to have 70 GB free space in your C drive. Yeah, the requirements are little high. But we have that requirements in the institute, but because Tableau server is only limited for 14 days, we cannot go beyond 14 days.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Can we get the license key from the institute end?
For which one, sir?
Tableau desktop and server, because once we do the payment and all that, I mean, that would be the 1 year of service, right?
Okay, I'll tell you something. Once your 14 days trial period is about to end, so maybe
Okay.
1 day, 2 days before, you have two things here. You can register yourself as a student in Tableau website. And once your details are validated by Tableau, then they will send you the key, which will be valid for 1 year.
Okay.
If you don't want to do that, because the ID cards may be a little old, or if the process gets rejected by you by Tableau, you can contact the institute admin and he can generate a key for you, but that would be chargeable, maybe 300 to 500, between that number.
Okay.
Right, so I
Okay.
prefer doing yourself, but if you cannot do it, so this is the other option you have.
So fine. Then no problem.
Right, so two ways, but try yourself, and if you cannot do that, so you have to spend some money. So they take it for generating the keys, and they generate ID cards for you, and they process it, and then you get a key.
So okay. When okay, I'm sorry, I'm disturbing. May I ask one question?
Yep.
Actually, when you say student ID, is that student ID, exactly student ID, or
Yes.
college name and everything?
Yes, so it should be like college name, and the year should be matching. It should be 2020 to 21. Only then the ID will be valid.
Okay. Any MCA student or any student?
Anyone should be fine.
Any college? AP
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah, they have a list there. You get a drop down, and you can verify that if you have the college name listed there, select it. Otherwise, just say other and fill out the details. And you have to upload the snapshot of your ID, and that will be validated by Tableau. And it takes 24 hours. Within 24 hours, you will get the response. Whether it is a positive, then you get a key. If it is a negative, they say it is not valid, so they don't provide you the key.
So I can use my brother's ID instead,
Anyone, but make sure it is the recent one.
It is valid one, right?
Recent, yeah. This year, this
Recent.
academic.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Sure.
This is useful. Thank you.
Sure. So I prefer doing myself, but if I fail, then I have to look at other options. So do it by yourself. So then you learn something new. All right then. So that's all for today. Thank you very much. Talk to you tomorrow, same time, 8:30 a.m. Bye bye.
Thank you.